Kingdom Hearts is this giant web of storytelling. It's a story about friendship and magic wrapped around all these other complex subjects like time travel, virtual reality. I thought Kingdom Hearts story was just an excuse to be able to visit and play in all these Disney worlds. And boy, is there a lot more to that story. The thing that allows you to visit and play in all these Disney worlds is the Gummi ship. And no, it's not candy. It was something we used because we had to, but I'm sure many of us didn't dabble too much with Gummi ships. So, let's take a closer look at them. I will start by saying that the Gummi ship section for Kingdom Hearts 1 is the worst one so far. But it's still enjoyable. It has some simple stats for us to understand the power of the ship. Blocks used is straightforward, showing you how many blocks were used since you have a limit on them. Flyable means if you can fly the ship as it is. Transform means if the ship has a special block that lets you transform to another ship mid-flight. Pretty cool. Warp basically means if you have the warp block that lets you warp to worlds you already visited instead of flying there. Probably the only reason you went into the Gummi ship editor was to add this piece. Shield is just if you have shield on your Gummi ship. Speed is how fast the ship will fly, and armor is the health of the ship. When creating your ship, there's basically 3 menus or modes. Selecting the Gummi ship, which is probably the least intuitive way to go through pieces. You could change the category of the piece by going left and right, and choose a different piece in that category by going up and down. It forces you to cycle through in order to select the piece you want, which gets cumbersome by making it slow to find the piece, and easy to miss input, making you cycle through it again. After finding the piece, you go to the building mode where you can place it in this 3D grid, which is a little confusing, especially when you're changing the orientation of the piece. After finally building your ship, or as you're building it, you can check to see how it looks without the grids in the last mode. You can use a variety of different pieces to build your ship, which has a small variety of effects. The cockpit and engine are the only 2 pieces that are mandatory for the ship to be flyable. The other pieces usually have a description that tells you what they do, like regular blocks increase health, wings help with mobility, and cannons, add cannons. There are 2 types of cannons you can use, one that fires rapidly in front of you, and another that locks onto the enemies, which are lasers. There are also different blocks that have unique effects, like dragging items towards you. I also took out my inner little Picasso and made 2 types of ships. I recreated the art one from Star Fox because it seemed appropriate. Now, I can't even draw abstract art, but I try my best, alright? I try my best. I then freestyled my own ship called the Destroyer. It was a bit annoying how the menu was set up to find the pieces and looking to see if the game had the right piece, since I had to cycle through them one by one, but I got it done. As you can see, the gameplay is very similar to Star Fox, an on-rail shooter that you can move around, dodge, and shoot, but you can't do a barrel roll. You gotta wait for the next game. The enemies and obstacles will drop health and items as you shoot them. You have a green health or armor bar, as the game calls it, that shows you your current health. A blue bar that shows how much power you have, that decreases when you use lasers, using the natural drag items, and etc. The orange bar is basically when you have the haste block, that is basically a boost, and the red dots is the shield health that deflects shots. You also see a score on the top right that has some icons. Starting from the top, we have a Heartless, that shows how many enemies you have destroyed. Next is what I believe to be how many obstacles you have destroyed. For the next few, while they show you how many you have collected, what's really important is what they do. This one replenishes the power gauge. After that is the one that replenishes armor. Underneath that one is the one that replenishes the shield. The star replenishes all 3, power, armor, and shield. The diamond looking one is a Gummi block, and the last one is blueprints for ships. Blueprints are pre-designed ships that you can use if you have the parts, which I believe is meant to show you the capability of the Gummi ship editor and cool things you can do with it. When going from destination to destination, you can do challenges the game gives you. each world has 3, with each one getting harder. They all range from getting a certain amount of items, only having certain items, and not getting hit or shot in a run. These missions usually require you to go back and build a new ship or modify the ship to do them. I did go back and do a few, but I didn't really enjoy the idea of building a weaker ship or just stripping my ship of certain block, which is what I mainly did and breezed right through most of them, since I already had some of the best blocks. There are more challenging ones, but I didn't find it appealing to just never get hit and never shoot. It's not my thing, I guess. If you want to increase the amount of blocks you can use for a ship, you will have to buy upgrades. And for some weird reason, they make you buy an item to change the color of the gummy blocks. That one seems kind of odd. Now, on to the third game in the series, Kingdom Hearts 2. Wait, 2? The game feels so much faster now. Tons of enemies, dodging a bunch of bullets, camera changing action. They added some extra stats for the gummy ship, but they made it more complicated to understand. So, starting from the top, we have the shield that determines how much health you have. The next two are a little confusing. The gun block shows how much firepower you have, and the one with the fireball is how much power each shot has. So, an example, if you go from 1 to 2 guns, the gun block level goes up. But if a shot goes from doing 2 damage to 5 damage, the fireball level goes up. The next two are also like this. The wings are basically how smooth and how much control you have of your ship, and how far you can roll the ship. The engine boost is how fast you move around the screen. All these stats can go up and down depending on which block you place, which has a limit on how much of that block you have and the overall cost of everything. Placing the blocks has stayed largely the same, except they changed how to move up and down. It was 2 buttons to move the pieces up and down, but now you have to change your viewing angle to be able to change your axis. I'm not sure if it's better or worse. The best improvement they made was giving you a menu to pick a piece from. While that clunky menu from Kingdom Hearts 1 was more aesthetically appropriate for Disney, but if you will excuse my French, that menu was basura. They added a few more pieces to play around with, and you aren't required to have any particular piece except for one of any to fly. What they took out from the last game was the transformation block, which is not a big deal in my eyes. Instead, we have teeny ships, which are smaller ships you build with a lower cost that follow you while flying. It is a great addition, but it has like this one weird thing going on. The game lets you pair any gummy ship with up to 2 teeny ships. However, if you only have one piece of, let's say, a particular cannon, you can create the ship and the teeny ship with it. You can't, however, use the teeny ship with the ship since you only have one of that type of cannon. It can also happen if you have 2 of that cannon type. You can use the ship and 1 teeny ship, but you can't equip 2 of that teeny ship because you don't have 3 of that type of cannon. Yeah, it's a little confusing. The game does not tell you that, and I'm sure many people have become confused by this because I know I did, and thank goodness for the internet. Another change is the addition of abilities. You have a certain amount of ability points that you can use to assign yourself a variety of abilities that take up different amount of points. It can range from increasing the ability of certain blocks to auto regen. I remade the R-Wing again, created my own invention, the tubular, and a secret weapon. After creating, we set off to do the missions in the game. Missions are set up in a different manner as they were in the last game. Each level has 3 missions you can do which correlates with the menu on the top left. The first one is to get a certain amount of medals. Medals are earned by going on a streak of kills without getting hit. On the top left, you will see a visual representation of your current medal level, and the bars around it show you how far you are in your current level. Next to it, where the diamond is, it will show you a numerical value of your current level. If you get hit, the amount of medals you have will go down by 1. The highest possible is 30, which gives you a power up until you get hit, and when the game ends, it checks how many medals you have and gives you a ranking on that. For each rank you will get a prize, and the prize for any rank below that one. Mission 2 is about how many enemies you can kill. The number next to the heartless symbol shows how many enemies you have destroyed. You will get a rank depending on how many enemies you destroyed, which I think is the most fun mission. The third mission is basically a high score, which is what the bigger number is for. But also you will have to control the side you're facing manually, unlike the other two missions that do it automatically. This mission is also a combination of mission 1 and 2 mashed together. You will have to unlock the third mission by getting an A rank on one of the other two missions. When you get an S rank on a mission, you will unlock its EX mode. The EX mode is the same mission, but you have a restriction or challenge, like only have 1 HP or using the sample ship the game provides. If you're having a tough time beating missions, it might be a good idea to build a donut ship. I know, I'm bad at art, but I know my shapes. And I know it's not shaped like a donut, but the reason it's called a donut ship is because it has a hole in the middle. Because of the hole, a lot of the shots from the enemies will go straight through without hitting you. This is probably the easiest way to play most of the missions in the game. Now, onto Kingdom Hearts 3, which is the 10th game release? Who cares? It's all out of whack. Who cares? In this version, they didn't take anything away. They just added more to it. There are a lot more patterns and block variations for you to try. The stats are the same, but they actually made it easier for you to understand. It's just better to build ships in this version than the previous one. The biggest difference is the overworld. Now it's an open world minigame. It shows just how important the Gummi ship has become to the Kingdom Hearts series. You get to travel around space from one Disney world to another and getting distracted as you get to your destination by finding parts for your ship, enemies floating around which you can see their levels, and many other things to find and discover. There are 4 types of unique Gummi ship items you collect in this game. What they do is give you XP, health, an item, and a rare item. When you find enemies, you go back to the usual Star Fox type gameplay. The HUD for this game is pretty similar to the last game, as well with a few differences. On the top left, we have a letter rank of how you're doing in the mission, with A being the best. The big number being the score. Underneath that we have a timer, which either gives you a time limit or how long it took you to beat the level. Next to that is a heartless symbol showing you how many you have destroyed or how many you have to destroy. The bottom right has your HP, amount of boost, timer for the special weapon, and the picture of the special weapon. And on the top right we see your overall current level. These Gummi ship missions do not feel as intense as the one from Kingdom Hearts 2. It doesn't have that camera changing action or the speed that Kingdom Hearts 2 had. One improvement is that you can shoot with one of the trigger buttons on the top of the controller. It makes it easier to spam your barrels as you shoot at the same time. They also added a special weapon you can equip which doesn't cost anything to your ship. There are 12 of them and you will have to unlock most of them. After using them, they have a cooldown timer that is different for each one. I recommend the repair kit as it will give you health each time you use it. But if you're going for an A rank, a more offensive weapon might be necessary. I also made a couple of ships in this game. I of course made a copy of the R-Wing and the Donut ship. The Donut ship is not as useful in this game as compared to Kingdom Hearts 2. Many of the shots in this game are wider, meaning they will hit you. In some fights it will work as some shots will go through. In order to be able to build a more complex ship, you will have to increase your level by playing the game. Increasing your level makes it so that you can put more blocks on your ship and get more ability points. If you had to pick a Gummi ship version to play, I recommend this one. One big problem I found in all the game is that the games will make you play the Gummi ship mission. Yeah, I know it's weird, hold on. In most games, they find a way to force you to play the minigame the first time. But every other time, it's your choice to play it. Like how the first drug is free to get you hooked. With the Gummi ship, you are forced to play it. It's a necessary thing to progress in the game. Gummi ship is not a fun little thing you can do on the side if you want, but becomes a subpart section of the main game. When compared to the rest of the game, Gummi Ship feels like an intrusive and an unnecessary part, which is probably why you hear people complain about it. I certainly didn't like it when I was playing through Kingdom Hearts, but I did enjoy it when I decided to play it outside of that. The game also has a weird thing that it doesn't give you an incentive to play the Gummi Ship levels in the main game. It's treated as two things that never interact with each other. There are no items to find in the main game of the Kingdom Hearts that will affect the Gummi Ship mission or vice versa, except for the item that you need for the ultimate Keyblade. They could have easily made the player find special Gummi Ship blueprints to get the player curious as to how it looks and get them to the Gummi Ship garage. It is understandable that they didn't do this because they are forced to play it a certain amount of time anyway. Gummi Ship is a minigame that evolved through each iteration. Kingdom Hearts wasn't the best version. It was slow and had a very unintuitive menu, but it was the first one that laid the groundwork for the next ones to come. Kingdom Hearts 2 built upon the first one and made a great minigame. Kingdom Hearts 3 innovated on that concept and made it into an open world minigame. Every version had fun gameplay and building mechanics that only got better with every new game. It's a bit of a shame that you're forced to play it more than once, causing it to be a chore to the Kingdom Hearts main game, than being an enjoyable optional side game to people who want to play it. Gummi Ship, in my opinion, mainly shines in its ship creation, allowing you to create any ship that you want and letting your imagination run wild. A taste of this is shown to you through the blueprints they give you. It's a shame they don't have anything in game to share ships you created, but there is a subreddit called Our Gummi Ship Creation, where you can post and view many cool creations by other people. Although I prefer the actions and missions of Kingdom Hearts 2, I still think the overall package of Kingdom Hearts 3 is better. But either way, you will have to play through the main game to be able to unlock all the sections and Gummi blocks. Kingdom Hearts 3 is a bit of a long game, but if you skip all the cutscenes, it'll cut your playtime down by like around half. And the story is just as confusing as its release titles. And what the f is Kingdom Hearts 0.2 Birth by Sleep, a fragmentary passage? Why is there a decimal point? There's even one with a fraction! Hey guys, I hope you enjoyed and learned something from today's video on Kingdom Hearts Gummi Ship. If you want to see more videos on video game minigames or other stuff I do, then subscribe. If you know any minigame that you think deserves some acknowledgement, or you want to see a video on, let me know in the comments down below. But as always, my lovely patients, I thank you so much for watching, and tune in next time.